Acting like I know this song. I've never heard this song in my life. Acting like I know the song beat drops and stuff. I don't know. Oh man. Oh man. All right. One more minute here. All right. Let's start getting into it. We're gonna just cut the music off for a second so y'all can hear me. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. We are back for our first ever live edition of Everyday Hoops. We are live. Thank you guys for being here. The couple of you that are here, and the ones that are going to be here in a couple minutes, or if you're rewatching this on YouTube later, because this is going to stay on YouTube and it's probably going to make a video out of it. Hey, what's up? We're live now. We're going to be going live sometimes. I don't know when. There's no full schedule yet, but we're just going to be able to go live and talk some moves and do all that stuff. And why pick a better time than now, the NBA trade deadline, where we had a lot of things happen, you know, not maybe any crazy stuff happen, you know, but still we had some things happen. Gonna be recapping the deadline here today, and yeah, we're gonna get right into it. Thank you guys for being here, and yeah, I don't know how long it's gonna be honest with you, but you know, let's just sit back, enjoy, talk some hoops, and have a really really good time. All right, and yeah, let's get right into it, man. No, it's my first. This is my face reveal. Yeah, technically, this is my face reveal, Cyclades. So yeah, face reveal. Let's go. Let's do it. So yeah, we're getting right into it. You know, with trades, all the stuff like that. Talk about winners, losers, every trade, how I feel about them from both sides. Obviously, I hope you guys can hear me well. I know. So the mic situation, the mic is like right here. You can't see it on the screen, obviously, but it's like right here, about ish, you know. And so yeah, and I'm not. You guys know. You probably know from my videos and stuff, but I'm not a very loud talker at all. So I'm kind of gonna have to try to, and I have headphones on, so I gotta have to try to like really sound loud. So I probably sound really loud in my own head, but to you guys, it probably just sounds quiet. That's just how it's gonna be until I fix this mic situation and whatever. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Let's get into the trades because that's what we're really here to talk about, and that's what we're here to do. You know what I mean? Good volume. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Let's get right into it. So I have on my phone. I got notes. I was taking notes throughout the day of every trade that happened to kind of keep it in order, ish, and stuff. And yeah, right off the bat, we didn't get really any big blockbuster moves. But I said it in my trade deadline video I put up yesterday. If you missed that, go back and watch it. But I said that in my trade deadline video. I was like, I'm not really expecting a whole lot of big trades. Like last year, we got kind of spoiled. We got KD, Kyrie. I can't even think of who else off the top of my head, but we just got so many big trades and stuff like that in the past couple of years. We've gotten like star trades and all this stuff. And at this point, this year, looking at how the market was, like the big star was Pascal. And Pascal already left. He got traded like a month ago, which is crazy to think that's already been a month. And so it's like kind of like, you know, I was coming into this deadline not expecting superstar, even all star names to be traded. The only guy on the list was DeJounte Murray, really, and that didn't happen. We're gonna get more into that in a couple minutes. But yeah, I was expecting a lot more, you know, role player trades, like around the edges trades. Teams that are like playoff teams that maybe need one more little role player bench thing off the bench to come in and do something. I expected that. And we did get a lot of that today. Those are most of the bigger moves. Were kind of good teams making little around the edge trades, you know, for the playoff runs, which big fan of, obviously. You know, gotta love when your team goes out and makes a move like that, you know, really solidify that bench role for the playoffs and all the stuff like that. But yeah, we're getting right into it. So we're gonna start with the first trade we got here was early. Actually, you know what? let's start with yesterday's trades. Yesterday we got 2 trades. Um, in the afternoon after I recorded my video, Simone Fontecchio got traded to the Pistons for a second round for Kevin Knox and a second round pick and the rights to freaking who is it? Gabriel Procida. Okay, Simone Fontecchio was a solid player, obviously. He might go to Detroit. Detroit maybe wants to keep him around long term. He's 27. I don't know why, but it's Detroit. They're not running good. And yeah, the Jazz get some more cap flexibility because Simone Fontecchio is a restricted free agent, all this stuff. We got that. Then we had to trade Xavier Tillman from the Memphis Grizzlies. Got traded to the Boston Celtics. I have the trade right here because I originally was supposed to put it in a Google Doc, but I ended up using my phone because it's right there. So Xavier Tillman got traded to the Boston Celtics in exchange for a 2027 second round pick via Atlanta, a 2030 second round pick via Dallas, and Lamar Stevens eventually was added in to this trade. Now Xavier Tillman, he's not a guy that, he's gonna come in and do right things for Boston. Boston didn't really have a lot of big man depth. Like their big man depth was Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett was their big man depth. And yeah, it just doesn't really, Luke Cornett's a solid player, but it's just like, yeah, who cares about Luke Cornett? But Xavier Tillman is a guy, he's a second round pick out of Michigan State. He's done some really good things for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's been around the league for a while. Look at the numbers. The numbers don't look crazy. I mean, he's averaging, 6 points, 4 rebounds, and assists, a steal, a block. The number, shooting 40% from the field as a center is crazy, by the way. How he shoots 40% from the field? And you're a center? And you're shooting 40%? That's weird. But, alright, whatever. But, yeah, he's a big man that's going to come in and do the dirty work. Again, like I said, comes in, get the extra offensive rebounds, gets the extra possessions, score inside sometimes. He can even come out and hit the 3. Now, is he elite at it? Absolutely not. I would have let him shoot that 3. But he can do it. He does dirty work, little things. Just something to bolster the depth of the Celtics, which is really the moves that really only moves they can make because they can't really make any big moves, especially with that team who wants to make big moves. They're the best team in the league. They should just keep it how it is, and they come in, get Xavier Tillman, give up a couple second round picks from 3-4 years from now that don't really matter. So yeah, and the Grizzlies just keep getting on second round picks. We've seen it in today's trade they made, and the other trade they made with Steven Adams last week. They're just trying to really acquire some draft capital and clear up some space, especially with this kind of being a dud year in a sense of like Ja, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, like not Jaren Jackson, but Marcus Smart. Everyone is out. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the Western Conference. So it's just like, get rid of some contracts, get some second round picks, some cap flexibility. So maybe in the offseason we can go make a move for Mikal Bridges or something like that. Just saying, But yeah, Xavier Tillman goes to Boston. That was a trade that happened yesterday. And then another trade that happened that I was a big fan of was between the Timberwolves and the Pistons. The Timberwolves are getting Monte Morris from the Detroit Pistons in exchange for Shake Milton, Troy Brown, and a 2030 second round pick. Now, Monte Morris is a guy, he hasn't really played a whole lot this season. Pulling up his stats right now. He's only played in 6 games this season. He was hurt for most of the year. On his third team now. You remember him from the Denver days, back in the bubble, when they went all the way to the conference finals, and he was a very solid, point guard. And he still is, The numbers don't look crazy because, again, he's only played in 6 games this season. But he's still a very good, solid point guard, veteran play. His nickname, the Count of Monte Sister. That's a horrible nickname. But he's a really good player. Look at his stats. 10, 3, 3 and 5, 12, 3 and 4, 10, 2 and 3, 10, 2 and 3. Just solid, consistent. Look at the turnover numbers. Love that. 4 assists and less than 1 turnover per game for his career. Love that. You love that. And yeah, he just goes in there, helps Minnesota, kind of a more inexperienced team, especially with Mike Conley. Mike Conley's missed a couple of games this year. Mike Conley hasn't played. They haven't looked great organized-wise, and even the last couple of games, we see that one of their biggest problems is the fourth quarter and kind of getting easy buckets. Their offense kind of gets stagnant at some points. Their defense is amazing, best defense in the NBA, but it's just their offense kind of gets a little bit just like stagnant. It gets to like, all right, Ant, here, take a contested mid-range jumper. Here, Cat, take a 3 or drive to the basket. And it's not really a lot of flow when Mike Conley's not out there. So they get a guy in Monte Morris that can still bring flow, get everybody else involved in the game, a high IQ point guard, and give it up Shake Milton, Troy Brown, who weren't really any part of the rotation, even though They're signed this offseason, potentially could be something, but that just never worked out. So both those guys go to Detroit now. Sorry, but they both go to Detroit. But yeah, I like that move from Minnesota Timberwolves. That was the only move I expect them to make, was just a little small move around the edges. And those were yesterday's trades, and now we get into the real ones. Trades that happened today, bigger trades. We'll start with the first game, or the first trade of the day that we did have was between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Indiana Pacers. There's a trade. Let me pull it up really quick. The 76ers, or the Pacers, are trading Buddy Hield to the Philadelphia 76ers for Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks. This is the first trade to kind of start everything off. Buddy Hield, really good player, obviously one of the elite three-point shooters we've seen in the last couple of years. But we knew before the season he was going to get traded because contract extensions, talks between them and the Indiana Pacers didn't really flow. The Pacers have a lot of guys they're going to have to pay eventually. And Pascal's going to get paid, even though they didn't know they were going to get Pascal before the season. But it was just, he's 31 years old, Buddy Hield. And it's like, do we really want to pay him a lot of money to be a part of this future when we have young pieces like Tyrese Halliburton, and then you add on Pascal, but then you also got guys like Andrew Nembhard and Bennedict Mathurin that are going to be up for contracts pretty soon in like another year or two. So it's going to be like, why pigeonhole ourselves with giving Buddy Hield his money? Because Buddy Hield deserves some money. I mean, he does. The NBA right now is, if you can shoot threes and you hit threes consistently, you're going to get minutes. And Buddy Hield is one of the elite when it comes to, I've always got Steph, Dame, Trae Young, obviously. But in terms of non-star players, just role players that can shoot the three, Buddy Hield can shoot that three. He's very valuable, and a lot of teams will want him. And Indiana, even though he fit really well with the team, obviously, with the way they run up and down the court and just shoot a lot of shots, Buddy Hield fit perfectly in that. But just money reasons, he goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. And I look at Buddy Hield. This year, he's averaging, oh my gosh, so many ads, dude. But he's actually having one of his lowest career seasons. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting 38% from 3. But look at Buddy Hield. Look at the numbers he's shooting. 40% from 3 for his career. He's saying, look at the 3-point makes per game. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 2. Look at the percentages. 39, 43, 42, 39, 39, 36, 42, 38. Look at the totals. Like, he's made, 1,842 threes. He's a 3-point marksman. We know that. And, yeah, any team would love to have him. The Philadelphia 76ers end up getting him. And now what contract is going to be, what the contract's going to look like, I don't know. He's getting paid currently $18.5 million this year. I don't know what the money's going to look like next year in the offseason. When he does, or if he does, re-sign with Philly, which would be a good chance. I would love to see him and Joel Embiid with Tyrese Maxey, the way Joel has kind of been playing this season. It's kind of been like, getting some shooting around him. That's what they want. They want shooters around him. And Buddy Hield is one of the best at that. He gets to go to Philly. I was saying this earlier, too, like, I was surprised with Philly being as aggressive as they were. Obviously, even with Joel, they were going to be aggressive, but without Joel, they looked bad. Last night, they just got beat up by the Warriors, and Steph had 9 points. You lost by, 20-something points, and Steph had 9 in 2024 Warriors. That's a problem. And you saw the 76ers were very aggressive today. There's been talks the last few days about them being aggressive. Reports being like, don't be surprised if they make 1, 2, or 3 trades or make a lot of trades and all the stuff like that. And they came out, they got Buddy Hield. But I was thinking, I was like, dude, the Sixers making these moves, is it worth it if you're Philly? What you're giving up isn't significant. Like Marcus Morris, even though he did get key to the city, unfortunately, back home, and he got waived because he got thrown in another trade we're going to talk about in a minute. So he's going to be a free agent. He might get back in Philly. He might go back to Philly. Who knows? Going back to his hometown. And then, what is it? Furkan Korkmaz, who's been wanting a trade for 6 years. He's been wanting a trade forever. And he gets traded. And then a couple second-round picks that, looking at it, second-round picks are kind of valuable. But looking at it, how often is it that a second-round pick turns into something amazing? They could turn into a pretty solid role player. Guys like Herbert Jones, something like that. But especially where Philly was going to end up, because Philly's going to be a playoff team, those picks are probably going to be 48, 49. It's when's the last time we've seen a 48, 49 overall pick turn into anything? Even though it is valuable because there is that chance that maybe we could get that guy that 49th overall pick that turns into a really good player and a really valuable player for us in the future. Maybe. But for the Sixers, it's like we're not giving up anything significant. But it's like, do we really want to go all in on Joel Embiid right now? When we don't know when Joel Embiid's going to be playing the rest of the season, if he's ever going to come back at all. But then I think about it more. I'm like, they're not really giving up anything of value anyway. So go ahead and do it. And if you re-sign Buddy Hield this offseason, that's great. Because he's going to demand a contract, but he's not going to demand max contract money because you still have to pay Tyrese Maxey too. And they're still going to have a lot more cap flexibility for this offseason where maybe they can go out and get a big name like a Paul George or something like that. So I like the trade for Philly. For Indiana side, again, they kind of had to give up Buddy Hield just because. And you know what? Hold on. Because I was going to do this at the start of the stream. I completely forgot until I just looked. Okay, hold on. Now we're live. Now we are officially live. I'm sorry. I completely forgot. I was so focused on other things, and I just looked at the side, and I'm like, dang. Like, why is it off? Completely forgot to do that. But now we are officially live and on air, okay? I'm going to remember to do that next stream and the streams after. Do that first. I got to write it in a note or something. But, yeah, I like the trade for Philly side of Indiana. Marcus Morris gets flipped. He went to the San Antonio Spurs for Doug McDermott. The Pacers get Doug McDermott back. Dougie McBuckets, he's a shooter, sharpshooter, and that's what the Pacers, big wing that can shoot. Why not? And so the Pacers get Doug McDermott. Marcus Morris is going to the San Antonio Spurs, but Morris is going to get bought out. Furkan Korkmaz also got waived. So Furkan Korkmaz, I don't know where he's going to find a home. But the Sixers get Buddy Hield. I like that trade, though, for the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's keep it going, though, because I don't want to spend, 30 minutes on each trade. Go to another trade. The next trade, I was very confused by this next trade. This is probably the most confusing trade of, the deadline. It was between the Toronto Raptors and the Utah Jazz. It was basically the Toronto Raptors are trading Kira Lewis Jr., Otto Porter Jr., and a 2024 first-round pick to the Utah Jazz for Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. I've been thinking the entire day about why the Raptors would do this trade. Giving up a first-round pick for Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. Kelly Olynyk, very solid player. I'm about to pull it up right now. Kelly Olynyk, don't get me wrong. Anything I say about Kelly Olynyk right now, it's not meant toward disrespect or anything like that, because I think Kelly Olynyk is a really good NBA player. 8, 5, and 4. The numbers don't look crazy, but he is a consistently good, stretch big, that can handle the ball, pass the ball well, high IQ big man, And a lot of teams were interested in him. Teams like the Heat, I think the Sixers, stuff like that. He's really good on a playoff team. But in Ochai Agbaji, I've been a fan of Ochai Agbaji. I liked him at Kansas. He won a championship there. I believe that he can be a really solid 3-and-D player in the future. But why are we giving up a first-round pick for Kelly Olynyk, who's 32 years old, and was going to be a free agent after this summer? Because I read also that the Raptors were really going to go after him in free agency. You could have got him in free agency. No one was paying Kelly Olynyk crazy money. You could have outbid teams to get Kelly Olynyk if you really wanted him. And then Ochai Agbaji, I think he's going to be a solid player. Worth a first-round pick, though? No. He was kind of losing his spot in the rotation to the Utah Jazz when they're getting hot. And now he's going to be on his third team, and he hasn't even played 2 years in the NBA yet. He was in Cleveland, Utah, now he's in Toronto. But the Raptors, I guess, are just trying to build Team Canada. They brought RJ back. They're going to get Kelly Olynyk. Toronto's just trying to build the FIBA team over there, I guess. That's what they're doing. Because I don't really understand giving up the first-round pick. For the Jazz side, we got a first-round pick, even though it is a really complicated pick, looking at the protections and stuff and where it comes from. I can't even process it in my mind. It's a really weird kind of trade, or a weird pick. It's been around everywhere. But if I'm the Jazz, Danny Ainge, I got a first-round pick for Kelly Olynyk. I'll take it. I will take that every day of the week, even though the Jazz have been playing really good recently. They've been one of the hottest teams in the league. They've jumped all the way up to a play-in team randomly. Them and the Lakers are kind of battling for the 9 and 10, which who would have thought that coming into the season? But it's kind of I don't understand it for Toronto still. Even though the Jazz, unfortunately, giving up Kelly Olynyk, even though he was kind of a bigger part, and Ochai Agbaji is a young player that you got in the Donovan Mitchell trade. But it's if I can get a first-round pick, especially this year's first-round pick, sign me up for it. And Kira Lewis, a guy that's kind of been forgotten about, who's thrown into the Pascal Siakam trade to get to the Toronto Raptors, and then he gets flipped over to the Utah Jazz. Maybe he can get a spot there because they don't really have a lot of guards. I don't know. And then they got Otto Porter Jr. Decent wing. I honestly can't even remember the last time I seen Otto Porter Jr. play basketball. But yeah, overall, I didn't really understand this trade from the Toronto Raptors' perspective of it. The Raptors today have just been really weird because they made another trade later we're going to talk about that I'm also kind of like, really? But shout out to Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge knows how to, sometimes he can get into his bag when it comes to trading. And he did it here, getting a first-round pick for Kelly Olynyk. That is pretty big. Next, we're going to go to the OKC Thunder and the Charlotte Hornets. Made a trade here. We're going to get into that really quick. Let me just pull up some stats and some contracts real quick because it's important for this next player. And I'm very interested in this deadline in this trade for this team. So the next one is the Charlotte Hornets are trading Gordon Hayward to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Davis Bertans, Trey Mann, Vasilij Micic, and 2 second-round picks. Gordon Hayward finally leaves Charlotte, gets to OKC, gets to a really nice young team. Now, Gordon Hayward, we only associate him right now with injuries. He's only played in 25 games this year. When's the last game he played? I can look at it right now. So his last game he's played this season was Christmas, the day after Christmas. He has not played in 2024 yet. He has had injury problems in the last couple of years, ever since, of course, the injury in Boston. He has not really played a lot of full seasons. The numbers are starting to decrease. He's only averaging 14.5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal. I said it in an early video way out, but he's kind of, right now when you watch him play, he kind of looks like that dad at the YMCA, kind of like that 48-year-old dad that, just loves basketball. He's played basketball so much. Like, he's doing, like, post fadeaways and hook shots and, like, slow on the court. Like, that's what his game's kind of evolved to. But, I mean, he's still a very solid basketball player. I mean, he still has moments where it's like he brings a lot of veteran leadership, especially to an OKC Thunder team that has not had a lot of playoff experience. It doesn't have a lot of vets on the team. Like, the vet over there is what? Kenrich Williams, So, Gordon Hayward gets to go there. He's going to be a part of the team, too. Backup forward, get a little more size, get a little more shooting. Defensively, he's all right. Just getting an adult, getting a leader, a veteran in the locker room that could really help. I like this for OKC, especially if they're not really giving up so much. You know what I mean? Hold on, I just kicked the heck out of my desk. But they're not really giving up a whole lot, even though on paper maybe it looks like a lot. But Davis Bertans, when was the last time you seen Davis Bertans play? Yeah, he was just money sitting on the bench. Vasilij Micic was becoming a pretty decent backup point guard for them. He's going to go to Charlotte now. But Trey Mann, I'm really excited with this trade for Trey Mann. Trey Mann was a first-round pick a couple years ago out of Florida. I was a big fan of him ever since he came on as a rookie. His rookie year was his best year. Like, you look at his numbers his rookie year. Like, he had a big rookie year. Like, he averaged 10 points, 2 rebounds, 1.5 assists per game. Shot 39. Shooting was not great, but he has some big moments in that. And then last year he was playing, then kind of fell out of the rotation later. This year he's only played in 13 games, only playing 9 minutes per game. He was the 18th overall pick. He is really electric. He can come out and he's got game. We saw it in this summer league this year too. He's still got a lot of game, and he's still only 23 years old, and he's just not really getting opportunity over there in OKC. Especially with Shea being an MVP, Josh Giddey, Kaysen Wallace the rookie, the emergence of Isaiah Joe. It's like, where does Trey Mann really gonna fit in that? Well, like, when is he ever gonna get to play? Only unless injuries happen. But so them sending Trey Mann to Charlotte, where who's really gonna, Ish Smith, LaMelo when he comes back. But after that, who's really, talent? Charlotte just lacks talent, and Trey Mann has talent. And so Charlotte being able to get Trey Mann, I think that's a W for them. He's 23 years old. He's a guy that can come out and be explosive, be fun for them, have some talent, have some big games, and I'm expecting him to come out and show out in Charlotte. I think he's got a great opportunity right now. So honestly, I'm really happy for Trey Mann in this trade, for him to get to Charlotte and get to be able to go to a place that he actually can play. Is Charlotte the best? No. Going from OKC to Charlotte, hate it. But hey, he's gonna get to play. But for Gordon Hayward though, I like this for Gordon Hayward. I think this is good for him. Looking at his contract, he was getting paid $31.5 million this season. And then he was going to be unrestricted free agent next year. I even saw some reports that were saying if Gordon Hayward doesn't get traded, they would work on an extension. That's how Charlotte's run. But he's 33 years old. He's not the all-star Gordon Hayward that we've seen. You definitely saw, what was it? There's a video on Twitter of like, this is the number one seed Thunder are getting, and it was Gordon Hayward from 2017. Thon Maker was on the court guarding him. I was like, all right, man. But no, I like this focus. I know a lot of people were thinking about like, why would OKC do this trade and stuff? I like it for OKC. Again, they get a veteran guy that come in, do their thing, and I like it for Charlotte because they do get Tre Mann, who they get to come in, and he's a talented player that can come in and do some things for them. Next, who is next on the docket? Little trade, the 76ers, making some more trades. They traded Daniel House, a 2024 second, some cash to the Detroit Pistons for a 2020 second round pick, clearing off salary cap. They also, while we're talking about the Sixers, let's get into Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley has been traded, and he broke his own news via the Pat Bev podcast. Shout out to Pat Bev of the podcast. They literally tweeted out, like, Pat Bev is a Milwaukee Buck. It's just randomly. It was like, what? Like, that was hilarious to me. But he broke his own news. He's going to Milwaukee Bucks for Cameron Payne in a 2027 second-round pick. Pat Bev's been playing pretty solid this year, especially recently, of course, with Joel Embiid not being able to play. He stepped up and had a bigger role, but now he gets to go to Milwaukee, a team that we know defense, especially at the guard position, they lack a whole lot. Damian Lillard, Malik Beasley, defense, nah. And now they get Patrick Beverley, who's known for defense, hard work, gritty. They don't really have a lot of players like that. Like hardcore is crazy. The kind of hardworking, gritty, get up in other people, defense, hustle. They don't really have that, especially at the guard position. So getting Pat Bev there, I like it. Him and Dame, of course, they've had some things in the past couple of years that have been said against each other, but now they have to suck it up, be teammates, and I think they're going to be able to do it. And the 76ers, I think this probably was just a money thing. I don't really know. I can look really quick at both of these guys' contracts because I have Spotrac loaded up here. So Pat Bev was only making $3.1 million this year, and Cameron Payne was making $2.8, so they saved $3 million, and they get a second-round pick, I guess. I don't really know too much from the Sixers side, but for the Bucks side, this is a big upgrade campaign to Pat Bev. You might lose some offense, I guess. I mean, Cameron Payne wasn't really doing much anyway. But they get Pat Beverley, get some defense in the guard position, and he just fits a Milwaukee Bucks. He looks like a Bucks player. Like, you see him on a Bucks jersey. As soon as you see him on a Bucks jersey, you're going to be like, yeah, that fits. Him, Giannis, and Dame. That's going to be one heck of a locker room. To be Bobby Portis, too. Oh, man. And speaking of the Bucks, they also traded away Robin Lopez. They traded him to the Sacramento Kings for some cash. Just, salary dump. Which is funny because Robin Lopez, after Pat Bev got the announcement, Robin Lopez was excited, and then an hour later he got traded, and he tweeted out, he was like, hey man, Pat Bev, we were only teammates for an hour and 40 minutes, but hey, love you man. But now Robin Lopez is expected to be bought out. He'll be in the buyout market. Who's going to want him? I don't know, because honestly, I probably have seen Robin Lopez play 3 minutes this season. He's old at this point. He's just there, veteran, locker room, presence, leadership, stuff like that. That's what he's really there for in the league. But Robin Lopez goes to Sacramento. Now let's get into it. Let's get into the trade. The trade, probably of this trade deadline, is between the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. Detroit basketball. The Detroit Pistons were kind of like the center of everything in the trade deadline. I think everything that was going on in the trade deadline, Detroit was in it somehow. Whether it was one of their picks getting traded or they were kind of making everything happen. So shout out to Detroit. They can't play basketball, but they can definitely make some moves happen. And they made a big move happen with the New York Knicks. The full trade is the Detroit Pistons are trading Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic to the New York Knicks in exchange for Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, Malachi Flynn, Ryan Arcidiacono, and 2 second-round picks. Big move by the New York Knicks. They get Alec Burks and Bojan Bogdanovic. Bojan Bogdanovic, obviously, he's been really good, especially when he's come to Detroit. Looking at some of his numbers, he's a really good player, obviously. averaged about 20 points per game this season. Last year, he had a career averaging over 21.5 points per game while shooting 40% from the field, 41% from three. This year, kind of the same. He missed the start of the season, obviously. Another guy averaging 23, 2, 46%, 41% from three. Marksman, big wing that can score, do that stuff. And of course, a lot of teams are interested. A lot of teams are interested in Bojan Bogdanovic for the past 2 seasons, and now he finally gets moved to the New York Knicks, adding some more shooting, spacing, another 15, 20 points per game if they need him to. Looking at his contract, because he did just get a contract extension right before the season, I want to say. He got a contract extension, and I cannot spell because why would I be able to? Bojan Bogdanovic. There we go. He's got 20 million this year, then a partial guarantee 19 million next year. So it's not anything too outstanding, too crazy. Really solid 2-year contract, especially with him being 34, 35 years old. Then they also get Alec Burks. Alec Burks averaging 12 points per game this season, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, or 2 rebounds and an assist. He used to play for the Knicks for 2 years. He goes back to New York. I love Alec Burks, man. Just a really, really solid basketball player. You know what I mean? Just a guy that's going to come out here, do what he has to do, doesn't do too much, handles the ball, shoots the 3-ball well, defends well, can be the point guard, shooting guard, small forward. He just does it all. Really, really good role player. And the Knicks get him. The Knicks are loaded right now, man. They do have to give up Quentin Grimes, which is unfortunate, because I really like Quentin Grimes. You know, Quentin Grimes, the first 2 years, they got him late in the first round. He's had first 2 years. I mean, he was a starter last year. And this year, unfortunately, lost a spot. Not having a great season. I can pull up his stats real quick as well. Averaging only 7 points per game this year. Get it here. Yeah, only averaging 7 points per game, 2 rebounds and assists. The shooting numbers are not good. 39% from the field, 36% from 3, 70% for the free throw line. Yeah, just not having a good season at all, which sucks because, I was a big fan of Quentin Grimes. Loved him in New York. But, unfortunately, that's how things went. And he's getting sent to Detroit, which is not bad for Detroit. They're getting a young guy that can develop as a shooter, and maybe even more, because in New York he was, specifically just shoot a 3. But if you know Quentin Grimes, he's not really used to that. He was a top 10 player coming out of high school, went to Kansas, then transferred to Houston, was a big part of their Final Four run a couple years ago, and he was a bucket getter. He wasn't just stand behind the line and shoot 7, 8 threes. He was more, I could shoot threes, but I could also get buckets. But in New York, the way his situation ended up, with Brunson and Randall and all the stuff, he kind of turned into a spot up. Just if you're gonna take 9, he's gonna take 9 shots. 8 of those 9 are gonna be threes. Maybe 9 of those 9 are gonna be 3-pointers. But now he gets to go to Detroit, where of course they're gonna want him to shoot a lot. But maybe he can spread his wings a little more and show he's a little more. I'm excited for Quentin Grimes to kind of similar to Trey Mann, what I was saying earlier with him going to Charlotte. Kind of Quentin Grimes be able to kind of spread his wings a little more, have a little more opportunity, and show, hey, I'm actually good. I can do more than just stand behind the 3-point line. I can go get buckets too. So I'm very excited for that. Ivan Fournier, finally, he's not a Knick anymore. A couple second-round picks. They did have to break up the Nova boys, Ryan Arcidiacono, but he probably is going to get waived or something. So maybe he can get back to his brotherhood back in New York with the Villanova boys. But yeah, I like this for the Knicks. The Knicks roster right now is loaded, man. So thinking about fully healthy, because right now they're not fully healthy. I think tonight they're only going to have 7 players active, so that's going to be something. But, so, thinking of their fully healthy lineup, you got Jalen Brunson at the 1. Do you keep Donte DiVincenzo in the starting lineup as a 2? Do you put Alec Burks in? Do you even, I saw someone on Twitter saying go big and put Bojan at the 2? I don't know if they're going to do that defensively, but Donte DiVincenzo's been having an insane season. Donte DiVincenzo's been crazy. He just had 30 the other night. He's averaging 13 points, shooting 41% from 3. Yeah, he's been lighting it up. Donte DiVincenzo has. So him in the 2. Then you have OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Isaiah Hartenstein. Mitch Robinson, I don't know if he's going to be able to come back this season or not. It's been speculation. And then off the bench, you got Alec Burks. You got Josh Hart, Bojan Bogdanovic. You got Precious Achiuwa, who's been very solid. You got, am I missing anybody? Miles McBride, who I really liked how he's been playing so far in his new role with IQ gone. I don't know why I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. I really hope I'm not forgetting anybody that's like actually part of the rotation, obviously. But that's a team, man. That's a team in the East. Like that is a team. You know, I mean, you got Boston, obviously. You got Milwaukee, Cleveland, and then New York is right there too. You know, of just like damn. And now with this trade, man, man, shout out to Leon Rose and the Knicks, man, because they are really doing it. They really are, man. That's a huge move to make, you know, and I love that for the Knicks side. Looking at some more trades. Let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks because I feel like the Dallas Mavericks are a big winner at this NBA trade deadline. I love what the Mavericks have been doing this trade deadline. So the first trade we're going to talk about is the one we did with the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets were very active this year at the trade deadline as well. The Hornets are trading PJ Washington's 2 second-round picks to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a 2027 first-round pick. I love this trade for the Dallas Mavericks. This is exactly what the Mavericks have been looking for. The last couple of days, they've been looking for a bigger wing that can also help scoring. I thought Kyle Kuzma potentially, but you know, after a couple of days, we saw that you know Wizards aren't going to trade Kyle Kuzma. Who's the next on the market? I don't really know. But PJ Washington, I really think PJ Washington's a really good player. Like looking at his stats and stuff real quick. Hold on. Give me one second. Bam. 13 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Come off a year last year, we averaged 15, 4 and 2, 32% from 3. This year is not great. But look at him recently as well. Like his last couple games, he's been, you know, balling. Yeah, he had last, 7 games, 19, 5 and 2, 49% for the field. Not shooting the ball well from 3, but he's a guy that also get into the mid-range, get into the paint. Even though he's only 6'7", smaller in terms of, you know, the power forwards and centers and all this stuff, but he's a guy that's smooth. He can score from all 3 levels. You know, it can help some of the scoring from Luka and Kyrie, a bigger wing. Defensively, he's not bad either. I love this for Dallas. Paired with the other trade that we're going to talk about in a second as well. They give up Grant Williams. So Grant Williams does not last long in Dallas, even though I honestly thought Grant Williams was going to be a big part of the Mavericks. But, you know, he started off well, and then he just kind of needs to fall down. Seth Curry hasn't even really played. Seth Curry gets to go back home to Charlotte. And then a 2028 first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, which is like, at that point, 4 years from now. Who knows? Luka's is going to still be here. Who knows? You know? But, yeah, I really like this for Dallas. And then they also make another move that I think probably has been officially announced yet. I know they're waiting for other stuff. But they also get Daniel Gafford from the Washington Wizards. They get Daniel Gafford in exchange for Rashawn Holmes and a 2028 first-round swap that they made with the OKC Thunder, which is why it was taking so long to get finalized, because the Thunder, or the Mavericks, are trying to get an extra picks to flip them to Washington. And so they swapped a first-round pick for OKC, and then that pick is going to Washington. So Daniel Gafford has been having a really good season for the Washington Wizards. I really like Daniel Gafford as a big man. Looking at his numbers real quick, he's averaging 11 points, 8 rebounds, a steal, 2 blocks per game, 69% for the field. He just knows his role as a big, you know, big that's gonna block shots, rebound, dunk. That's what he does, and he does it really well. Probably one of the most underrated big men in the league right now. And him going to Dallas again, they wanted size. You know, coming into the trade deadline and stuff, they don't really have a lot of size. I mean, they got Derek Lively, and then that's it, really. Like, they don't really have a lot of bigger guys. You know, most of their guys are like 6'7" to 6'5", and they're like good wings, but they're not like 4s and 5s and stuff like that. Even Dwight Powell, who's their backup center, isn't a big center. You know, but Daniel Gafford brings size. You know, he brings athleticism. I can already picture right now that lob with Luka, especially a guy that if Derek Lively isn't playing good because he's a rookie, he's going to have his up and downs. You could throw Daniel Gafford right in and be like, hey, Daniel Gafford, and basically the same thing. You know, if not even better. So I love this trade for Dallas. Dallas really is a big winner of the trade deadline. I love these trades for them. Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, that's exactly what they've been looking for. And I'm very excited to see, you know, what what they do. Shout out. Thank you. But, yeah. So let's go to our next trade. Let's get back to the Raptors, because the Raptors, I don't really know what Masai Ujiri's doing. I'm going to be honest. I really don't know. They make the trade earlier, the giving up Kelly Olynyk or getting Kelly Olynyk and giving up a first round pick. And then they also make another trade later. They sent Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young to the Brooklyn Nets for Spencer Dinwiddie and Dennis Smith Jr. And eventually they're going to waive Spencer Dinwiddie, so he's going to be one of the bigger names on the buyout market as well. But yeah, so the Raptors trading Dennis Schroeder, they get back Spencer Dinwiddie, who they're going to waive. Dennis Smith Jr., who I actually liked in Brooklyn. Defensively, he was locking in. He's kind of bringing some energy off the bench. I don't think they get any picks in this deal, which is weird. They give up Dennis Schroeder. They give up Thaddeus Young, two vets. Dennis Schroeder wasn't really happy anyway, coming back off the bench now for me. Quickly, Thaddeus Young. I'm going to be honest, I forgot Thaddeus Young existed in the NBA until last week. I saw him get into a game. I was like, oh my god, Thaddeus Young still is around, But yeah, I just didn't really understand it at first. But they got Spencer Dinwiddie to waive him, So now Spencer Dinwiddie's going to get on the market, which that's going to be good, even though Spencer Dinwiddie is not having a good year. I looked at his numbers. Let's look at his numbers again right here. Yikes. This is not great for Spencer. Let's get here. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 39% from the field, 32% from 3. And the Nets suck, too. Like, honestly, Nets are a team I'm disappointed in at the trade deadline. They did trade Royce O'Neal, which we're going to talk about in a second. They didn't trade Dorian Finney-Smith because they were valuing him so much. Like, there was reports the other day, they declined 2 first-round picks for him. And now teams are like, you know what? They're declining 2 first-round picks. We're not giving up anything more for Dorian Finney-Smith because why? And then McHale stays. Nick Clack, all stay. But it's just, I don't know. The Nets feel like could have just done more. Because this Nets team is just bad. They're not going to make the play-in. The only way they're going to make the play-in is if the Bulls or the Raptors, or not the Raptors, but the Bulls and the Hawks have a bad streak, or they go on a big winning streak, which I don't think they will. So it's like, why would the Nets do it? But for the Raptors, this trade deadline was not great. These two trades. Now, I love the OG trade. I like the Pascal trade for them in the future. But the Kelly Olynyk one still boggles my... why? Especially, Kelly Olynyk probably would have went to you in free agency. And unless they really believe in Ochai Agbaji and think he's something insane that we don't know about, I don't know. Or unless that first-round pick was not going to really convey well, maybe that's what it is, and I just don't know that. But I just don't understand it. But yeah, this trade was kind of nothing, especially when for Dennis Schroeder. This trade for the Nets, why they would do it too. Why would the Nets want Dennis Schroeder? I don't know. They give him a starting opportunity, I guess. Maybe they're going to buy him out too, and I don't know. The Raptors and Nets both kind of confused me at this trade deadline. But yeah, that happened. What else? I'm looking. Well, actually, the Nets. Let's talk about Royce O'Neal. There's a 3-team trade. I think this is the only 3-team trade to happen. Between the Nets, the Suns, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Oh my god. I'm on Royce O'Neal's page. I thought his nickname was Big Meat, and I was like, dude, what? It's Big Meal. Big Meal is his nickname, not Big Meat. That would have been insane. But okay, so I think this is all of the package, because the package and what was going on and who was going where kind of came out late. It was kind of a big gap between. So basically what I got is, and I can look and see if that was the full trade. Basically, the Suns are getting Royce O'Neal and David Roddy from the Memphis Grizzlies. The Nets are getting Keita Bates-Diop from the Suns, Jordan Goodwin from the Suns, and 3 second-round picks. And the Memphis Grizzlies are getting a pick swap from Phoenix. They're getting Yuta Watanabe, and they're getting Chimezie Metu. I think that's the full trade. I can look at it right here. Yeah, that's basically what it was. The Suns hung on... they're just talking about the picks and what picks are going to be. But, yeah. So, Royce O'Neal goes to Phoenix. Miles Bridges was the guy that was really heavily linked to Phoenix, but it came out early that Miles Bridges was going to veto any trade. He did not want to leave Charlotte, and so that kind of took him off the board. So the next best thing for Phoenix was Royce O'Neal, who I think is a really good role player. Currently, he's averaging 7, 4, and 2, shooting 36% from 3. He's a guy that played in Utah for a while, been in playoff scenarios. He's a really solid role player. Again, really solid role player. Shoots threes, defends pretty well, can handle the ball a little bit here and there too. Very solid role player that the Suns need, because they weren't really getting it out of the role players I thought they were going to be getting out of. And the Suns give up all those guys that they actually signed this offseason and just like, you know what, we don't really need them. And they also open up 2 spots now for the potential buyout market, which we're also going to get into because that's a big thing too. So the Suns are going to be able to have some flexibility in terms of getting the buyout market. They get Royce O'Neal, a solid role player, and David Roddy as well, who is young. I like David Roddy. I think he'd be a pretty decent player, PJ Tucker type mold. So maybe he can go to Phoenix and contribute to a winning team right there. For the Nets, they don't really get a whole lot of value in terms of player, but I mean, what are you going to give for Royce O'Neal? You're not going to be able to get a young player for him. But they get 3 second-round picks. You know, why not get some more picks in Memphis again? Just getting a pick swap for Phoenix. We Watanabe and Metu, who can go right off the books next year. Again, more cap flexibility for Memphis. So yeah, this is a solid trade. I mean, Phoenix gets some players to acquire for a run later, and they also get to open up some spots for the buyout market, which we're going to get into because there's some guys going to be on the buyout market. Spencer Dinwiddie is a big name that's going to be on the buyout market. Joe Harris, the Pistons waived him because the Pistons had to waive some players to kind of, because they brought in so many players, you can't have like 19 players on the team. Joe Harris got waived. He's a guy that, was one of the best 2-point shooters in the league at one point. But then injuries started to come around, and he just hasn't looked like his same self the past couple of years. He was just sitting on the bench in Detroit. And now maybe a team will open him up. I saw the Bulls, which we're going to talk about that too because the Bulls are really disappointing. So Joe Harris gets to be in the buyer market. Killian Hayes. Let's get into the real news of the day. Killian Hayes is no longer a Detroit Piston. He's no longer a Detroit Piston. And to all the Pistons fans out there, this is for you. Piston fans, Killian Hayes is off your team. And he is a free agent now. But being in all seriousness, Killian Hayes is not a member of the Pistons anymore. He has been released. So far, he was a number 7 overall pick just a few years ago, 2020, out of France. High expectations. A lot of people I know, a lot of people they thought Killian Hayes was going to be great. Yeah, they were wrong. Look at his career averages: 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, 38% from the field, 27% from 3. This year he was averaging 7 points, 5 assists, lost his spot in the rotation. There talks about, okay, they want to get him off the team, trade potentially, but they eventually had to end up releasing him. So unfortunately they don't get anything back for their top 10 pick just not that long ago. And now, where is he going to go? I've seen some things. The Grizzlies, they're a team that are interested in the past couple of days because the Grizzlies are a team that they need players. They just need people. So, Killian Hayes. San Antonio has been a team that's been which I wouldn't mind. He gets to go with Coach Pop. You know how they like developing, the international players. They need point guard play as well. So maybe he can go there with Wemby. Maybe. Revive his career a little bit. But yeah, it just sucks, man, honestly. Like, he was such really high talent, really highly touted, coming out of the EuroLeague and all this stuff, and he had the injury in his rookie year that kind of derailed him as well. Then the Pistons got Kate Cunningham. Then they got Jaden Ivey. So it's kind of like he just never really found himself. When he did get his opportunity, he just didn't really make most of it, which sucks. But I'm hoping the best. Maybe if it is signed to another team, maybe if it is going overseas, going back over there, the Dante Exum route, where he goes overseas, has a couple good years, and he comes back, because he's still only 22 years old. He's still so young, so he still has a lot of opportunity left. Maybe he does do the overseas route, comes back, or maybe he does get picked up by San Antonio or somebody, and then, he gets a little bit more confidence and better play and stuff like that over there. Hopefully, but yeah, maybe, we'll see what happens with Killian, but I hope the best for him, obviously, the other trades that happen are like, do you want to hear me talk about Corey Joseph going to the Pacers, and he got waived too? Like, who cares? Delano Band got traded, though. Shout out to Delano Band. He's going to the Portland Trailblazers. But after that, the trades, they were better. Oh, actually, I talked about Doug McDermott and Marcus Morris, actually, so never mind. But yeah, now it's a buyout market. Kyle Lowry is probably going to be bought out pretty soon as well, because the Hornets are trying to trade him, but everybody in the NBA knew we'll wait for him in the buyout market. Why are we trading anything for Kyle Lowry? But now, the teams that did not make moves. The Atlanta Hawks. And honestly, I'm gonna make this as a separate video, maybe even tomorrow or the day after. I'm gonna make a separate video, probably, or maybe I'll just clip this out and make it a video talking about the teams that didn't make moves and what they do next. The Atlanta Hawks. There's been a team that the last 2 months been talked about. They're gonna sell. DeJounte Murray was one of the biggest names in the market. Clint Capella, Sadiq Bey, and they do absolutely not even a little trade. Nothing. DeJounte Murray stays in Atlanta. Clint Capella, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Sadiq Bey, they stay packed. Looking at the Atlanta Hawks right now, they are the number 10 seed in the East. They're 7 games under 500, 22 and 29. They're 2 games behind the Bulls for the 9th seed. They're 5 games out of the 8th seed. And things have not looked good over there. The coexistence of Trae Young and DeJounte Murray have not worked at all. And they gave DeJounte Murray a contract extension this offseason. I can pull it up really quick right now just to remind, myself and you guys what it is worth. So he's getting paid $17.7 million this year. Hold on, I can kind of show it. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it that well, to be honest with you, but just I'm looking at it. And then he's gonna be able, so he's gonna get paid 24.7 next year, 26.7 the year after, 28.7 in 2027 when he's 30 years old, and then 2028 he'll have a $30 million player option, which he's probably gonna accept, and then he'll be an unrestricted free agent. So 4 years of DeJounte Murray. And he does not get moved. Of course, the Laker thing was talked about a whole lot. Him potentially going to the Lakers in a 3-team deal for D'Angelo Russell going to another team, and the mock trade, of course, of Murray to the Lakers, Russell to the Hawks, or Russell to the Nets, Dinwiddie to the Hawks was a thing that has been talked about a whole lot. I feel like every day I saw a mock trade of that on Bleacher Report and all this stuff. It doesn't happen. And then yesterday, Chris Haynes talked about the Pelicans as a sleeper team for DeJounte Murray, which I was very honestly interested to see how that worked out. Because either they're trading CJ, and CJ goes to a 3rd team, but then I saw they wanted to pair DeJounte and CJ. So it's like, dang, you got DeJounte, CJ, BI, and Zion. Now, they would have to give up probably Herb Jones and the young players, but going all in there. But then I was thinking, like, why would they really do that? Because the Pelicans already have CJ on the books for a couple years. Zion's got his max money. DeJounte is going to be, you have to pay DeJounte for 4 years. BI's contract is going to be up soon. Trey Murphy the third's got to get paid soon. So it's like, so much money. Why? But talks stalled out. Pelicans also wanted Yeko Okongwu, and at that point I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen because the Hawks are not trading Yeko Okongwu. He's going to be the center of the future for them. So yeah, and then there's not really any other suitors. So the Knicks potentially, but then the Knicks made their move for Alec Burks and Evan Bogdanovic. The Jazz, I saw were a team that maybe were interested, but look at them, they sold a little more. Well, not really sold a whole lot, but they sold a little bit more. So it was kind of like not really much left. And DeJounte stays in Atlanta, which I'm kind of disappointed in. But the Hawks are going to just have to see it now. Hawks are just going to have to roll with the punches, and see what happens. Clint Capella, he's got talked about potentially on the move, especially with the way Yeko Okongwu has been playing recently. And he's young, and maybe they want to see him take the next step. But that probably will happen in the offseason. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Sadiq Bey, DeAndre Hunter even. But no one moves. Hawks stay packed. And now they're going into the second half of the season. Hoping for last year, because last year was kind of the same. Last year, the first half of the season, they kind of were just like, what's going to happen? But in the second half of the year, they kind of got up, made the playoffs, and was a way more competitive series against the Celtics than I would have thought. And maybe they're just banking on that hope this year again, too. And then once it gets to the offseason, that's when they're going to have to start doing some things because this team is not going to work out. The LA Lakers, they don't make any moves. They stay packed. Of course, they had the D'Angelo Russell thing, but with D'Angelo Russell playing so well recently, held on to him. Austin Reeves, they held on to him. They were talking about trying to center a package. Christian Wood, Gabe Vincent. Yeah, okay. And yeah, just nothing really happened, and now they stay packed too. The good thing is they've been winning recently. They just got over 500. They're 27 and 25. They're 9th in the Western Conference. They're in the play-in. They're only like a game and a half behind the Mavericks. And tonight, actually, they're doing the Kobe statue reveal and the Black Mamba trees, so I'm going to be interested in that. But yeah, they stay packed. And looking more throughout what's happening, it's kind of like, dang, of course, the Lakers, we want to see them make trades. They've been very disappointing. They're a team that coming into the season, everyone thought we're going to be one of the top teams in the West and a championship contender, no doubt. It's not gone that way. They won the NCAA tournament championship, but they just have not been good this season. But now they're kind of starting to get better, get more healthy. LeBron and AD are playing at amazing levels. D'Angelo Russell's playing at a great level right now, and they're just staying back to see how it goes. And potentially, maybe coming into this offseason, they're going to go after a star. They're going to have a little bit of salary. They're going to have some picks, and go that way, like they did with a couple years ago with Russell Westbrook, and we see how that turned out. So we'll see. The Chicago Bulls. I'm sorry, Bulls fans. Just did you see something flow into the camera? I don't know. The Chicago Bulls, though. Man, I'm sorry, Bulls fans. Shout out King of the Fourth Quarter. I started watching his video, but then, but man, they stay packed. They don't do anything. Zach LaVine, we kind of understood he wasn't going to get traded after we saw last week that he said, yeah, undergoing season-ending foot surgery or ankle surgery. He probably saw Detroit and he was like, nah, I'm not going to Detroit at all. No way. I'm taking the surgery. I'm staying out the rest of the year. DeMar DeRozan, who is done with his contract this season, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. I just got a thing on Twitter during the stream that's saying the Bulls want to keep him long term. Vucevic hasn't been great. Alex Caruso, a guy that a lot of playoff teams would love to have. No. Andre Drummond, who's been having a great season. No. Bulls stay packed. They don't do anything. And it's disappointing. Because this is a team that is mediocre at best. At best, they're a 9 seed. At best, they're a 9 seed. And it's like, why are we investing into all these older players, big contracts in LaVine, DeRozan, Vucevic, not getting guys like Caruso and Drummond, getting value back for them just to be average? And they do have high attendance. You saw it. If you've seen the numbers, like they are number one in attendance. The UC is still selling out. And that's probably a big reason why they're kind of like, you know what, we're still selling tickets even though we're mediocre. So why change that? And it's like, I feel for Bulls fans. I feel for them because if I was Bulls fans, I would be mad. I'd be very mad. Just like this front office, just showing, do they really care about how good we are as long as we're selling tickets? Like we don't capitalize on trading any of these guys that have value, not insane value obviously, but value nonetheless. And it's just like we're just putting all our cards in the middle of the table on being a 9 seed. And make it to the play-in. And even if they do make it to the playoffs, a date with Boston, Boston's looking at Chicago and just like, yes. Like, really? That's what we're going to do? I don't know, but I feel for Bulls fans. I don't understand it. The Nets, I talked about them earlier. They didn't really make a lot of changes. The Warriors, they made one move. They traded Corey Joseph to the Indiana Pacers. But that's it. The Warriors don't make any moves. Wiggins stays, Clay stays, Chris Paul stays. Which, looking at the reports of the past couple of days, kind of makes sense. Like, it was just, didn't really, you kind of saw that the Warriors are going to stay packed, and they're kind of just like, you know what? Once everyone gets healthy, we'll be better. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I mean, the Warriors are still, 23 and 25. They're 11th in the West. They're only a half game or a game and a half out of the play-in race. So maybe. But, yeah, I thought Drummond was gone for sure. That's what I say. I thought Drummond was gone for sure. The Sixers, who else? Anybody, really. Could have gone after Drummond. But it didn't happen. Jalen Johnson is nice. Jalen Johnson is that guy. Jalen Johnson is the second best player on the Hawks. I said it, But yeah, the Warriors stay packed. What's some other teams? Honestly, that's really it. Portland doesn't trade Malcolm Brogdon, which was surprising to me. I thought Malcolm Brogdon was going to be gone. That doesn't happen. He stays in Portland now. Bruce Brown, the Raptors again. Masai Ujiri. I don't know what you're thinking right now, but he does not get traded either, even though there are a couple teams willing to give up first-round picks and stuff. The Knicks were a team that was talking about the Bucks. Playoff teams, obviously, but Bruce Brown doesn't get traded at all, which was very surprising to me. Who else? The Wizard Tyus Jones doesn't get traded, which I was kind of disappointed on because I think Tyus Jones could go to any playoff team and be a really good point guard off the bench. But then again, also Minnesota was a team that was really looking after point guards, and they got Monte Morris, so that kind of ended that. I don't know about anyone else. Yeah, that's really it. Orlando doesn't make a move, but looking at the market, there wasn't really anything for Orlando out there. The Kings don't make a move. They got Robert Lopez and released him. They don't make a move. But yeah, that's about it. About all the trades I was thinking about, the things I was thinking about, all that stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this trade deadline. Now, we're gonna be streaming a lot more. And if you're watching this on right now live, or if we're watching this, later on YouTube, we're gonna be streaming a lot more. I mean, basketball, maybe even non-basketball, who knows. But yeah, I'm going to get into streaming a lot more. I think it's going to be really fun. We can do some watch-alongs, potentially talk about some big things going on in basketball, just chill, hang. I'm very excited for it. Very excited for this next journey, this next part. I'm very excited for that. And yeah, so that's going to be pretty much it for today. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching this now, you watch this later on YouTube and all this stuff. No matter what, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it a whole lot for the support, all that stuff like that. And let's get one just little bomb. So why not? Why not? But yeah, it's gonna be for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content, subscribe, like, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. There's a lot of links in the description down below. And yeah, thank you guys for coming along and hearing me talk for an hour. I think it's been an hour. Thanks for coming out and hearing me just talk for an hour. My throat is so dry right now. I'm gonna be taking this down, and as soon as I turn this off the stream. But yeah, once again, thank you guys for watching. Let's get this music back on. Let's go out in style. You know what I mean? Let's go out in style. I want to go back to this one. And now's an ad, of course. YouTube with these ads. But let's get back into, because this song was hot, the second song. Let me get to it real quick. This, yeah. Shout out to 100 Thieves. This is 100 Thieves hype track. Non-copyright. Let's turn up a little bit. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming. I'll see you guys tomorrow.